Good morning, class. As promised, here is Dr. Russ Corley. And we're going to give you a little bit of an introduction to the Four Agreements so that as you start to read the book, you're going to be kind of prepared in a way that, I always like knowing what I'm going into.
Yes, it's helpful.
It's helpful so that you know what I'm kind of some things that I'm hoping that, you can glean from this. And so we want to give you a little bit of a quick guide to doing this. This is our first time to do this. I think this is really great.
Can you maybe share why you chose the book real quick?
Well, I chose the book. I'm trying to remember when I first heard of the Four Agreements, and I can't pick up. And I have a date in this book of October 2004.
Wow.
So it's been a while. And when I read it, it struck me on a lot of levels because these agreements that Ruiz talks about, I had thought about a few of those, and those were important to me. But the things like taking things personally and making assumptions, I was just moving through life and really just kind of working on my own deal there. And what I found was I was making a lot of assumptions, and I was taking things personally, and it meant a great deal to me, and still does. That when I come back to these Four Agreements, it kind of grounds me a little bit, and it really makes for, in a way, a more pleasant life for me.
Gotcha.
So, we've had discussions about books before, and we've thought about going to other books, and I'm stubbornly hanging on to this one, at least for another semester. So,
She's hanging on, but I'm looking forward to it. I think one of the things that she mentions that's important is that she didn't just read the book, she tried to put it into practice, and when she did, she found that some of these ideas in the book were helpful in her life. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. We didn't choose this book because it's academically rich. We could have chosen something that would be all about philosophical hermeneutics or sociology of knowledge to kind of get at some of this stuff. But instead, we've chosen a book that, number one, you'll have to read a little bit differently. You have to read with what I call a metaphorical imagination. By that I mean you don't take everything literally. If you take everything literally that Ruiz writes, you're just going to go, he's a nut. So what you have to do is you have to kind of work with metaphors. If Wednesday, we had people, it was raining really hard. In my generation, when it rained that hard, some people say it's raining cats and dogs outside. Well, now when they said that, I didn't expect to walk outside and see Siamese kittens and little chihuahuas falling out of the sky. Instead, I just thought, oh, it's raining really hard. Well, if you take metaphor literally, it's just very frustrating. So you have to be able to have kind of an imaginative approach to reading. So I hope, number one, that you do that. Number two, as you read through, especially the Four Agreements, I hope what you'll try to do is say, do I agree with that or do I disagree? Now, if you disagree, what I want you to do is say, this is why I disagree with it, or, well, I agree with it up to a point, but I just think he overstates it or he's not clear, and so if I want to make this agreement mine, something I could agree with, this is how I would have to phrase it. So hopefully what you do is you'll be kind of working with the ideas metaphorically, but also taking very certain key principles and making them your own and agreeing to them. And then what I'd like you to do is find somewhere to practice them. That's really important. Back a few months ago, and I'll tell you a little more about this, but a few months ago I decided I was going to learn how to cook. I knew nothing, or almost nothing, except for hot dogs in a microwave. Poke little holes in it, turn on the heat. It won't explode. Well, to learn more about cooking, I had to buy equipment. I had to take some classes. I had to do my homework. I had a cooking class. I had to do a lot of cooking outside of class. But the thing I know is you will never learn how to cook reading books on nutrition, on cooking, reading cookbooks, reading about recipes. You'll never learn. The way you'll learn is you read and kind of figure things out, then you try it. And trying it's dangerous. Sharp objects called knives. Heat, really hot stuff. You might burn yourself. Ingredients. It could cause food poisoning if you don't do a really good job. But you kind of take a risk of applying it. So what we want you to do is find a relationship that's a bit challenging to you. One that's not easy to talk to. So not your boyfriend or girlfriend if you're romantic. See, if you're romantic, there's nothing about this that's challenging because you feel so good. He's so wonderful. She's so fine. No, something that's challenging, that you're having a regular conversation with, where you will try to apply these 4 agreements or these 4 principles over the next few weeks, and will kind of be an experiment to see if it helps, if it makes any difference. Now, we'll start on Monday, and we'll kind of talk about what he talks about, he calls the domesticated dream, or dreaming with your eyes awake.
That's chapter 1.
That's chapter 1, and what we're hoping is with that we'll kind of talk a little bit about what we take for granted in our everyday life and how we kind of move through life being unaware. And what he's trying to get at is, how can you be more aware of what's going on around you? We want you to also read the 2nd chapter, because I'll kind of use that as an integrating chapter, and I'll translate it. I'll be calling it integral communication, and I'll kind of subsume everything else under that. But we'll be talking about communication, listening, speaking, a number of things.
Because that's the first agreement.
It's first agreement. I'm talking
Yes.
about
Be impeccable with
be
your
impeccable
word.
with your word. So that's kind of what we're up to, and we hope that you'll enjoy it. The final thing I'd say is, I expect you, since it's a 10 o'clock class, when you come, to be wide awake and ready to talk.
Did I tell you to tell them to be ready to talk?
You
I
did
say
not,
that?
but
No,
I'm
I
saying
didn't
that
say
because my style, I really enjoy getting everybody hopping in there, talking, saying I agree with this or I disagree with it, and I will be asking why. So not only will you be sharing it, but you'll be kind of thinking out loud, and ideally, if it works well, we'll be thinking out loud together about the 4 agreements. So I'm looking forward to it, and I look forward to meeting you on Monday.
Excellent. Thank you, Russ.
You're welcome.